Hey guys, this is Danny with Patrick Adair Supplies here for the January ring box. This is the Atlantis ring. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's go ahead and open up this month's box. So first off, you'll notice that we don't have a freebie in this box, and that's because each box is going to be a little bit different. You're getting a surprise this month. So look forward to that. It could be anything. So this month in our ring, we have first off our Aqua Glow Powder. It's just a really nice bright glow. It's nice to work with because it works really well. It glows really nicely. Then we have our Carbon Fiber Ring Band. One of my favorite things about the Carbon Fiber Ring Band is just how lightweight it is. You really can't even tell you're wearing a ring when you have it on. And I love the patterns that the carbon fiber has on the inside of the ring. So it's just kind of a cool extra because the inside also looks cool. All right, next up, we just have some copper shavings. These will look really nice. I love the coppery look to them, just a nice brown metallic look. And then we have some cyan green opal. This is, if I can open it. This is just a really nice greenish blue opal, depending on how the light catches it. It kind of looks a little bit like aqua, and I just think it's a cool opal to work with. Next we have apatite. This is just a nice translucent light blue, so it'll add a little bit of depth to our ring. Then finally we have our aquamarine glow powder. We're just kind of going for like a seafoam green, a nice light aqua color. So we're not going to use a ton of this, but we are going to have it in the ring to add a little bit of color to our glow powder. All right, let's go ahead. The first thing I'm going to do today is mix our color pigment with the glow powder. I try and do about a 1:5 ratio, so just make sure that you're adding a little bit of color pigment and then a lot more glow powder. And that's all the prep work we're doing for this ring. So now we're going to go ahead and throw the ring on the mandrel, and then we're going to get started inlaying some of our materials. First, I'm going to be taking our thick CA adhesive and adding chunks of apatite and just locking them into place using our color pigment and the glow powder. So we're just kind of spread 10 to 12 pieces throughout the ring. I'm doing 10 to 12 because the ring size is about a 10, and I like to add a few more pieces than the ring size just to ensure that there's a good distribution of each inlay material. Next, I'm going to be adding our copper shavings and our cyan opal. So to do that, I'm going to take some medium CA adhesive, put a little bit of the medium between two of the pieces of apatite, and I'm going to sprinkle in a few of the copper shavings and then fill in the rest of the gaps with our opal. And I'm just doing this to make sure that we have a pretty random assortment and distribution of the opal and the copper. I really don't want it to look super planned out and formal. We want it to look kind of like a sunken lost city. So I'm just adding a little bit of the copper shavings and then a little bit more of the opal. I'm just going to go all the way around doing that same process, sprinkling in a little bit of our copper shavings on top of the medium CA adhesive, and then adding the opal on top of that just to fill in the gaps. So I go all the way around the ring doing that same process. After we've added the copper shavings and the opal, I'm going to go ahead and wet the whole ring with our super thin CA adhesive, and then I'm going to fill in any low spots with our glow powder mixture. And then I'm just going to do that over and over again, wetting the ring with the super thin and then adding a little bit more color pigment until I've filled all of the low spots and they're above the lip of our blank. And we're just doing that to ensure that the whole ring has the same depth besides the pieces of apatite. This will really allow those pieces to pop and add the depth to the ring that we want, rather than having depth created by leaving voids underneath the CA adhesive. After I'm happy with how full the ring is, I'm going to wet everything once again with our super thin CA adhesive and spray it with accelerator just to make sure that it cures and everything is set in place just how I want it. After I've allowed the ring to cure for roughly 20 minutes, I go ahead and start dremeling it, and I just dremel it flush. Since we are dremeling on a carbon fiber ring band, we just want to be a little bit more careful to not nick the band, because anything that you do to the band is magnified tenfold compared to like a titanium ring band. So if I nick it, it'll be a huge gouge in the ring. So you just want to be really careful that you're gentle and soft as you dremel and sand to ensure that your ring stays in really good condition and you can maintain the bevels if you like them, or just the shape of the ring in general.
The way that I ensure that I don't Dremel too much is I just take a little layer off at a time, going all the way around the ring, twisting it slowly as I go, just to make sure that a little bit comes off of the top. After I've done that a few times and I'm happy with how much it's Dremeled, we move on to our hand sanding process. Once I'm done Dremeling, I'll take some 220 sandpaper and just do a quick hand sand on the outside of the ring, just to ensure that the entire thing is level and flush, so that I can check for any holes remaining in the ring. And then I am just going to go around and ensure that I have all of the holes popped or filled in with some color pigment. After the hand sanding process, I go ahead and just fill any of the cracks that I've seen with a little bit of the color pigment mixture, and then I do another layer of our super thin C adhesive on top of that. And I just do this to ensure that the ring has one cohesive bond between the whole thing. That way you're not having little segments of the ring that are detached and that might fall out. So I just use the color pigment and the C adhesive to ensure that everything is stuck together. After we've allowed that layer of super thin C adhesive to cure, we're going to go ahead and just do our hand sanding process to finish the ring. So I start with my 220, and then I'll sand with 500 grit sandpaper, 1000 grit sandpaper, and 1200 grit sandpaper. Just making sure to lift the sandpaper up every 2 to 3 seconds, spray the ring off with some water, and then I just go all the way through, and it does a really nice finish. One thing that I also do to ensure a really nice even finish is I'll stop every couple of seconds to switch directions on my lathe. So I'll be spinning the lathe towards me for a couple of seconds with each grit, and then I'll spin it away from me just to kind of alternate the sanding direction a little bit, just to ensure an even smoother finish. Once I'm happy with how the sanding went, I'm going to go ahead and just use our Step 2 Astrotech polish and just polish the ring really quickly. This one, since it's such a light ring, I don't want to spend too much time polishing it and force any of the pigment or the polish material into the pigment. So I'm just polishing it for a couple of seconds just to give everything a nice shine, and then I'll move on. Oh man, take a look at that ring. It looks gorgeous. I really love the contrast between the copper and the opal. I think the metallic look against the greens and blues of the opal look really nice. And then I love the depth that the apatite adds to it. It just adds a cool extra element to the ring so that you can look down into it, kind of like you're looking into a sinkhole or part of a lost treasure, a sunken city, as you could say. Remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as head over to our Facebook group so that you can share your creations and look for tips and tricks on how to make better rings. Thanks so much. See you guys next month.
All right, guys, I'm really happy with how this ring turned out. I really love the contrast between the aquamarine glow powder and the copper and the opal as well. I think it looks really nice together, and then I love the lightweight of the carbon fiber. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks.